All right, let's set the scene. It is a freezing cold midnight in St. Petersburg, Russia. The streets are completely silent, covered in ice. But inside one of the city's grand palaces, a trap is being set.
And the guest of honor? None other than Grigory Rasputin, a mystical healer who had, against all odds, become the most powerful and probably the most hated man in the entire Russian Empire. A group of aristocrats had decided he had to go, permanently.
So down in the basement of Prince Yusupov's palace, everything is ready. There are these little pink cakes and glasses of sweet red wine. But here's the thing. They are absolutely loaded with cyanide. Enough poison to kill several men. This wasn't a party, this was an execution.
So you have to be asking, why? What could this one man have done to make a prince and his friends plot to murder him? Well, to get that, you really have to understand the absolutely wild life story of Rasputin himself.
I mean, that's the big question, right? How on earth does a simple, illiterate peasant from the middle of nowhere in Siberia get so much power that the country's elite decide the only way to save Russia is to kill him?
His rise to fame was just insane. He starts out as a farmer with a wife and kids, then at 28, he just walks away from it all to become this wandering holy man. And people were captivated by him. His reputation as a healer just exploded, and by 1905, he gets the call from the Empress herself. She needed him to heal her son, who had hemophilia, a terrible disease where any little cut could be fatal. And when Rasputin seemed to miraculously help the boy, that was it. He had the complete, unwavering trust of the Empress of Russia.
But here's where the story gets complicated. Because behind that image of a saintly, divine healer, there was a completely different person. Rasputin was known for his wild, drunken parties and his endless affairs, especially with his wealthy female followers. And the secret police? Oh yeah, they were watching everything.
And these aren't just rumors. We have the actual police surveillance files from 1915, and they read like a gossip column. One entry says he's seen with 2 women, doesn't get home till 3 a.m. The next, he's meeting up with one prostitute, then bringing a totally different one back to his apartment. It was basically a non-stop party.
Now, a scandalous private life is one thing, but this is where it spills over into a full-blown national crisis. The Empress started trusting his advice on everything. He was helping appoint government ministers. He was giving military advice on how to fight World War I. To the Russian people, it looked like their entire country was being run by this corrupt, out-of-control madman.
And that's when the anger just boiled over. After a politician named Vladimir Perishkovich basically called for Rasputin's head in a public speech, Prince Felix Yusupov approached him. They gathered a small crew, and they decided, you know what, if the government won't stop him, we will.
And this was no spur-of-the-moment thing. They came up with this incredibly detailed 6-step plan. I mean, look at this. They thought of everything. Lure him to a soundproof basement so no one hears a thing. Poison him silently. Then get rid of all the evidence. Burn his clothes, weigh the body down, and sink it in the frozen river. On paper, it was the perfect crime. No body, no evidence, no problem.
But how do you get Rasputin to walk right into a trap? Well, Yusupov played the long game. He faked an illness to get close to the famous healer. After a few meetings, he had Rasputin's trust. The final bait? An invitation to a small, private party where Rasputin would finally get to meet Yusupov's famously beautiful wife Irina. For a guy like Rasputin, that was an offer he just couldn't refuse.
Okay, so the plan is in motion. The trap is all set. Rasputin is on his way. And now, this is where one of the most meticulously planned murders in history goes completely and spectacularly off the rails.
So here's the first huge problem. The plan was for a quick, clean death. The cyanide was supposed to work in about 15 minutes, but the reality? Hours go by. Rasputin is eating the poison cakes, drinking the poison wine, and he's totally fine. He's just chatting, asking for more wine, completely unfazed by enough poison to kill a horse. Can you just imagine the sheer panic of the conspirators waiting upstairs? They're listening for a body to hit the floor, and nothing. Just the faint sound of talking. Their foolproof plan has totally failed, so what on earth do they do now?
Yusupov can't take it anymore. He runs upstairs, grabs a pistol, comes back down, and shoots Rasputin. A huge bang echoes through the palace. The others rush in. Rasputin is on the floor, not moving. He's silent. Finally, it has to be over. So they head upstairs to figure out their next move. But then they hear a noise. To their absolute, utter horror, they look out the window and see Rasputin, the man they just poisoned and shot, staggering across the snowy courtyard trying to escape. The man just would not die.
It's total chaos now. Print'skevich, the politician, grabs his own gun and runs outside after him. He fires once, misses, fires again, misses. It's almost like Rasputin really is invincible. But then he fires 2 more shots. Both hit Rasputin in the back. And this time, he collapses into the snow. For good. So the perfect silent murder has now turned into a bloody shootout in the middle of a palace courtyard. The plan is in absolute shambles. And in their rush to clean up this disaster, they start making one clumsy mistake after another.
The cover-up was just a total mess. First, a policeman knocks on the door, asking about the gunshots. Then they realize the stove they plan to use is way too small to burn Rasputin's big coat and boots. They do manage to dump the body off a bridge, but when they get back, they realize they've left a huge trail of bloodstains, and one of Rasputin's boots just sitting right there in the snow.
With a sloppy cleanup like that, it was only a matter of time. Sure enough, just 2 days later, police saw blood on the railing of the Petrovsky Bridge. They cut a hole in the ice below, and there he was, Rasputin's body, perfectly preserved in the frozen river.
So, did they get away with it? Well, kinda. The trail led straight back to them, but the Tsar was afraid of the political scandal, so no arrests were made. Yusupov, the ringleader, was just exiled to France, where he lived to be an old man. The others pretty much scattered. In the end, their mission to save Russia was a complete failure. In fact, you could say that the bizarre, chaotic, and unbelievably violent murder of this one man was almost a perfect preview of the much bigger chaos that was about to swallow the entire Russian Empire just a few months later.